World War II is also known as the most oversaturated, zombie-having war to ever happen. However, a horrific story of a US Navy experiment taking place during World War II came out in 1955. And while it's regarded as a conspiracy theory or a hoax, the Philadelphia experiment is genuinely one of my favorite stories or theories out there, and just like your girl, it's fucking nasty. The Philadelphia experiment was a US Navy experiment that supposedly rendered the USS Eldridge invisible. However, they didn't realize what actually happened was the worst oopsie you can imagine. The experiment was just supposed to render the ship invisible to enemy radar, but what had actually happened was a bluish greenish glow appeared on the ship, and different accounts say that it was just a green fog. And then after this thing appeared, the ship disappeared. The ship had been sent from Philadelphia all the way to Norfolk, Virginia, and their naval shipyard, and then it returned all the way back to Philadelphia. The first oopsie was that they accidentally teleported a fucking ship 5 hours south. The crew on the ship had came back pretty fucked. It said that some went insane, developed mysterious illnesses, were rematerialized inside out, and then some of them straight up disappeared. The worst one is that some, still alive, had been fused together with the ship, and their limbs were literally attached to metal. They were literally melted quesadilla cheese. Look, I've had my fair share of oopsies, right? Like accidentally associating with someone ungodly named Priscilla. The time I shit myself in 3rd grade. Dying before round 14 on Verruct. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually good. But fusing people to metal? Nah, not me. Certain alternate accounts of the story mention that the ship had time traveled, right? Being sent seconds or minutes in the past all the way to Norfolk. Entered an alternate reality, and when that happened, reality got split into two, and we now live in the created reality that wasn't there prior. The story had been brought forward by a man named Carl M. Allen in the year 1955. Allen had sent a anonymous package to the U.S. Office of Naval Research, or the ONR. The package had been marked with Happy Easter on it and contained a copy of The Case for the UFO, a book written by Morse K. Jessup. Jessup's book had mentions of the unified field theory and the possibility of how UFOs work. It's actually a credible book because it was written by someone who was actually a scientist, or at the very least, someone with a degree. Let's go back to the unified field theory though. This was something that was penned by Einstein himself, and it's a hopeful merging of the theory of general relativity and the theory of electromagnetism. Right? Theory of general relativity is just the explanation of how gravity affects space and time, and the theory of electromagnetism is that magnetism and electricity are not separate, but they work together, essentially. Einstein wanted to unite these theories into one theory because he believed that everything in the universe should be able to be explained by one single theory. But why is that relevant? Allen began sending letters to Jessup under the name Carlos Miguel Allende, in which a scientist named Franklin Reno put it into practice at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Allen then claimed that he had been taught by Einstein himself and can prove the unified field theory because of these events. He claimed he witnessed the USS Eldridge disappear while serving aboard the SS Andrew Forsyth. Jessup wrote back, obviously asking for more info, in which Allen referred to him to a non-existent Philadelphia newspaper that apparently covered the incident. In 1957, though, Jessup was invited to the ONR, in which the package with his book that they had received had annotations of what seemed to be a conversation between 3 different people, and one of them was claimed to be an alien. The annotations then had claims that alien technology had helped make a breakthrough in the unified field theory, resulting in this experiment. Jessup had connected the annotations in the book to the letters he received from Allen. At the ONR, though, 2 officers took interest into the matter, and one of them spoke about the incident with the president of Varro Manufacturing Corporation of Garland, Texas. They would then produce 127 copies of Jessup's book with the annotations, known as the Varro edition. Then Jessup later tried to publish more books, in which he was unsuccessful, lost his publisher, then took a bunch of L's in life, and then sadly, he exited the lobby in 1959. So like, Jessup and his death, right? Keep that in the back of your mind. The ONR had actually repeatedly searched for these documents or any kind of mention in their archives, but got nothing. And deck logs and the war diary of the USS Eldridge, along with action reports, have been found. And It shows that the Eldridge was never in Philadelphia during this time frame, and the First wasn't even in Norfolk at the time frame either. The SS First had left Norfolk on October 25th, and the USS Eldridge was in New York from October 18 to November 1st. The time frame of the experiment says October 28, 1943. So this just didn't add up whatsoever. The only plausible explanation for these ships having any connection to this experiment, other than just being fucking name dropped, was that the Eldridge did have a classified device on it. Another explanation for how this could have even happened was the degassing technique, which is something that's used for ships at the time. And the degassing technique is when electrical cables are installed into the boat to cancel out its magnetic field, and done correctly, it could technically make a ship invisible, but only to sentry mines and torpedoes, those kind of things, but not to the eye. You know what the worst part about this is? Allen had actually came out and said that he made this up, and that his annotations were just to, quote-unquote, scare the hell out of Jessup. Years after all this, the story had been repeated and republished, and according to historian Mike Dash, most republishers just had not done any or very little research on this entire situation whatsoever. And it's believed by some people that the Eldridge's ship logs are falsified or still classified. So people took the ONR's interest in this random ramblings of this one random dude as a red flag because they assumed that Allen's claims must have been close to something that had actually happened. And going back to Jessup and his death, it's actually a lot weirder than it seems. Jessup had become obsessed with the Philadelphia experiment. Like literally, homie really needed a win, so he banked on this. He even turned over his info to friend Ivan T. Sanderson, another writer, and told him to keep it safe in case anything happened to him, which included his own version of the Varro edition of his own book that had his counterclaims to the annotations. But his actual death, Jessup had been found dead in his car with a hose lodged into the exhaust pipe, and he died of carbon monoxide poisoning. And friends of Jessup had actually described him of potentially having depression, but the red flag is that there was no autopsy performed. You know, because of that, people take this as potential murder. Even the account of how he was found was confusing as fuck. The report literally says his car was found in a park, but Ivan T. Sanderson says that his car was in his garage. His wife even refused to identify the body, stating that he would not have committed suicide, and that it wasn't identified until a man named Leon A. Soul, a family friend, had come forward and identified him. However, the family had never heard of him. But I guess there you have it, the Philadelphia experiment, a potentially fabricated story. I feel like, if anything, if this is any kind of inkling of a truth, Allen probably got the name of the ships wrong. Allen was described as being weird, the best way to put it, mentally unstable, I guess. I don't know, that might seem like a red flag, but like, I don't know. I mean, I still like it. I think the fucking teleportation having a complete awful effect on people is such a cool idea. It's fucking nasty. It literally is. Could there be any truth to anything of this? Maybe. I just feel like not everything of the Philadelphia experiment is out there. At least not to the public. And of course it fucking wouldn't be. But like, I just feel like there is more to this, although I can't find more. Still, cool story. I like it. Crazy theory, but like when you actually go down looking at it, you just kind of be like, oh damn, fuck you, Allen. You had a good thing, and then you had to come out and say that it was fake. Damn, fuck you. Coulda let us fucking have it, you know. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you're still here, you have no idea how many times I actually fucked up. Like the amount of times I had to restate what I said because I fucked up all the way to the end. Insane. I hate it. So with fear of fucking up again, I'm going to say this. Bye.